Nice. Well, any fun activities today on this lovely Sunday?
What did I say? I cooked. I what did I do before? I did other stuff. I folded laundry. What did I do before that? I did something. I listened to the album. I guess that's taken a lot longer than I remembered. Did some dishes. I thought about running to Menards, but I'll just do that after work tomorrow. We got a groundhog problem. It doesn't live on our property, but it comes onto our property, and I want to keep the garden safe. So
We're gonna have to find a way to keep it out, especially something that can burrow underground.
yeah, I'm thinking if I just put there's so much stuff around. I mean, I was sitting outside yesterday and it was taking a nap on a tire across the street, so it isn't threatened really anywhere. So I'm like, you've got all this other stuff everywhere else. Just don't come here. So I'm gonna try and put some chicken wire up and maybe prevent it, but I can't really bury anything. So
Yeah, so you're gonna be a little limited. You'll just have to catch that hedgehog. Electrified fences.
it's not a hedge. It's a groundhog.
Yeah, so whatever. Same difference.
Quite a big difference.
They're both hogs of some sort, right?
Yeah, I guess.
They're both made of bacon.
Eh, I don't think you'd want to eat either of those.
Can you eat a hedgehog?
I mean,
I've never
probably.
heard. I've never heard of someone eating a
You
hedgehog.
can eat just about anything.
Well, yeah, but it will be good.
The
I
only
guess
things
is
you
the better
can't. Well,
question.
no, I was gonna say you can't eat Greenland sharks, but you can because was it the people of was it Greenland figured out how to do, or was it just the polar circle in general? You bury it for fucking like 6 months, and it ferments, and is it too much vitamin A or something? I don't know, but no, that's polar bear livers.
Huh, you can eat anything once.
True, but um, you bury them and ferment them, and then you can eat it eventually.
Well, the more you know. I'll get my whack right out of the fridge then and cook it up for dinner tonight. It sounds like a productive day.
Yeah, yeah. I got more stuff to get done. I've been working on the composter. I got all the planks cut for the well, not all of them cut, but most of them cut for the A-frame support. But I was like, you know what? It'd be really nice if I could just chisel out half of the plank so they would slot together. You know what I mean? Um, and so it would be, a little more presentable. It would be a proper frame instead of, two by fours nailed together. So I was like, oh, you know what? I had my grandpa's chisel that I didn't bring home from my uncle's house. It's like crap.
You're chiselless.
So
Well,
I think
that's the Menards trip.
no, I'm not buying those chisels are expensive, man. I think my parents are heading up there this weekend, so I'm just going. Hey, can you grab some more of those tools that I forgot to bring back with me? So, but I was trying to do a garage sale yesterday, and nobody. I literally had
I saw that picture. You said not too many people showed up.
two people. The entire from 10 to 4, 2 people.
Man, wow.
It's pretty bad.
So I guess you didn't exactly make bank.
No, of the 2, only one person bought something. So,
But there are rock bottom prices.
they weren't. No one stopped. No one wanted to stop. So, that was fun. So I just started working in the garage since nobody was stopping.
Hey, maybe next time.
Well, we were supposed to do it today too, and we changed our minds. Like, well, what would the point be?
I guess if no one's actually buying anything.
Is it? Do we want to waste another bunch of hours? Like, no. Let's just
Don't blame
get
you.
rid of it. So, what about you? You been doing anything fun this weekend?
Had some fun times. Went to a party Friday night. Had a nice grilled cheese lunch with some friends yesterday. Um, and saw the new Wes Anderson movie today,
Yeah.
The Phoenician Scheme.
How was that?
I thought it was pretty good. Can't say I mean it's a Wes Anderson movie, so
Yeah.
you'll know what you're getting into if you've seen any of his other stuff. But I enjoyed it. I thought Michael Cera was very funny in it.
I haven't seen one of his movies in a while.
Well, it's in theaters if you've got the hankering.
I don't really have the hankering to go to theaters.
You don't like a nice theater experience? I do like a good theater experience.
I like a good theater experience. I feel like those are fairly few and far between.
What, have you had a lot of negative ones?
Just people, man.
You do have to sit with people,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly, yeah.
I mean, I've never really had too many negative ones. People are typically pretty respectful.
No, it's nicer not having to deal with people.
Oh, so you just people in general, even if they are respectful, just being around them.
Yeah.
I can't stop that unless you go to a really unpopular movie, then you get the whole thing to yourself.
Yeah.
But I heard it was actually pretty packed. So,
Well, you want to get on into it with the album?
yeah, let's do it.
So, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Audio Shop Podcast. This week we are doing The White Goblin by Masayoshi Takanaka, the sequel to the Rainbow Goblins that we did last week. Cooper was quite insistent that we do them back to back.
Well, it felt appropriate.
Yeah, even though
right? We were thinking about it last week. You made the comment, "Oh, we haven't reviewed enough Takanaka albums." Like,
yeah,
well, there's the segue right there.
Yeah. So you want the history of Takanaka? You can go listen to the start of the previous episode. I'm not going to repeat that. He's got surfboard guitar. That's the big thing. So the White Goblin is Masayoshi Takanaka's 26th studio album, released in 1997. It is 17 albums and 16 years after the Rainbow Goblins. So a little bit of time has passed between the two. It is based once again on a book, The White Goblin, which is the sequel to The Rainbow Goblins. That book came out January 1st, 1996. So as soon as the book came out, Takanaka must have gotten right to work on the album.
Which I guess makes sense of why he waited 16 years to make it.
Mm-hmm.
The book came out 16 years, or at least
15 years after.
After he made the first one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's some of the history. Now he's very influential on city pop, but I would say this album does not lean city pop. But we can get into that, starting with track number 1.
Yeah, track number 1 here, Heaven and Earth.
So this is, it's a bit different sounding, but it does call back to the Rainbow Goblins album with the strings. I think it's the same theme as well. I meant to check that and didn't.
Yeah, I mean it starts similar enough to the Rainbow Goblins. A little orchestral, very airy. That narrator guy with the British accent comes back. Not the same guy, but he sounds similar to the last narrator.
I wish it was the same narrator, but 16 years is a long time. So.
And the Rainbow Goblins got killed by all the flowers. But yeah, he basically summarizes the previous album in like 10 seconds, which I mean is about as many plot points as that album had.
Yeah. It is a children's book. As you know, the flowers killed the Rainbow Goblins. So.
But yeah, so this is a proper narrative sequel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same as the book.
And this one, I mean, it's showing its hand a little bit here. It's much harder guitar and electronic synth than the Rainbow Goblins. Definitely leaning a bit more rock than city pop / jazz here.
Yeah, and almost a more operatic rock, I should
Yes.
say.
Yeah.
I think Queen in terms of like a very theatrical quality to the guitar playing.
Well,
Which that's my biggest wonder going to this album is I will say a sequel to his previous work, but one a decade and a half later. So kind of having a direct comparison of where Takanaka was then and where he was then or now. I guess now being 1997.
Yeah. But yeah, they give very, very grand intro again, you know, a la Rainbow Goblins. Jump to track 2 if you're ready, Coop.
Yes, track number 2. Who? Question mark?
Which was my question when the narrator starts speaking. It switches to a female narrator, and she does voices for characters, which makes it sound so goofy.
Yeah, and they're like pitch shift. You know they're the characters, but they're like pitch shifted up a little bit.
Not only is she doing a voice, they're also digitally augmented.
Yes. Basically talking for the flowers. Which they reveal that there's actually an eighth goblin,
yes.
the White Goblin, one so bad that even the Rainbow Goblins got rid of him.
Well, they
exiled him.
There wasn't really much explanation as to why the Rainbow Goblins got rid of him. It was more of 7's a better number, so get the fuck out of here.
Which, I mean, that seems about as on brand for those goblins as anything else.
White's not in the rainbow. Get out of here, you weird.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Mrs. Mex, with the branding.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one almost has like the guitar almost has like a country twang to it.
Well, I think it's a steel guitar. You know, the slide guitar.
Yes.
Which it feels weird. But you know, maybe I've been too deep in the city pop trenches. I've been listening through Takanaka's discography, but I've not made it past the first 10 albums.
Barely scratching the surface.
I know, yeah. He's had like 36 or something like that, so I really am not. But
with a slide guitar, there's also this like really nice bass on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's prevalent throughout the album. And it has this almost kind of smoky, pensive sound to it. Like maybe a little bit of unease, which is quite a theme for this album as well.
What's the White Goblin gonna do?
Yes. What is it? So bad that the other 7 couldn't even handle him.
I do quite like the ending of this track. It's got that really layered guitar with the quick fingers is pretty sick. I'd say that's probably the best part of the song.
Oh yeah, it really picks up in the back half with those fun plucked strings. Again, not sure why the White Goblin's a threat. It seemed like they killed the other 7 goblins like super easy, like barely an inconvenience.
It was they did it in about 2 minutes and had time for dinner, you know.
No, this album will prove that the White Goblin is slightly more problematic.
Yeah, but we'll get to that. Jump into track 3 if you're ready, Coop.
Yes, track number 3, Away. And this is where the album definitely veers away from any city pop influences.
Yeah, it's something. I want to say it's trying to be grunge almost.
I would almost say it's got like this like, I mean, it's 1997, so grunge isn't out of the question, but it's almost like this like glitch beat like in hip hop influences.
There's definitely a lot of hip hop influences on this album.
There's hip hop, there's like sampling influences in this. It's a very like it's got some chunky 90s riffs in it as well.
Yeah, it's
you cannot accuse Takanaka resting on his city pop laurels in this album.
No, not at all. Sorry. I'm trying to get something set up. My question here is, how did the goblins survive on only snow?
Well, the same way the other goblins only survived on eating rainbows.
No, they ate color. They didn't eat rainbows.
Oh, okay, same difference. At least snow has, water in it.
True, yeah. Who's to say color doesn't have water?
Science in general.
Have you eaten color?
Every day.
Well,
I have a bag full of Skittles for breakfast.
that does not seem healthy.
Well, it's healthy for the goblins, and I'm pretty goblin-esque, so
I won't disagree with you there.
yeah, no, poor White Goblin. Poor WG got exiled and could only
WG,
eat
don't call
snow.
him that.
Why? You don't feel sorry for this guy?
I mean, I feel mainly confused. Like, why did he banish himself to the snow and the ice? He didn't have
Because
to go
he's
that
white,
far
snow is
away.
white. These goblins seem to be really into theming,
Yeah.
so kind of extra.
The backing for this track, I will say, leaves a little bit to be desired. It's okay at best. Now the guitar is great, but I'm not a fan of the constant. I'd said chimes, but it's the wind chimes in a line. I can't remember what the name of that is.
Yeah, like the chimes strum.
Yes.
Like when you,
Just
that is a pretty
constant.
significant sample. Good bass guitar in it.
Yes.
And this is I would say the first album, the Rainbow Goblins, had a lot of whimsy to it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Very storybook-esque. This one's setting up is very dramatic.
Yes.
Dramatic as hell.
Very dramatic.
Like this is
very rocky.
Yes.
I do
but
like the fade
Takanaka
out
is definitely
sorry,
sweating on this one. You can tell.
I do
Like
quite
his
like
guitar. His guitar playing has not skipped a beat.
Just giving you a second there because every time I started, it seemed like he had something else.
No, go for it.
I do quite like the fade out and back in at the end there. That was a nice little touch when it almost kind of blows the speakers a bit.
Yeah, kind of. Again, this album's dramatic.
Yes.
And it is amplified. Takanaka's got a little bite in this one,
Yes.
which takes us to the next track. If you're ready, Sam.
Yes, track 4.
Track number 4, Goblin's theme. I clapped. I clapped when the Goblin, repeating Goblin thing came in.
You know, he tries to redo the Goblin thing from the previous album, but this time it's a native English speaker, so it's not the same. They do throw one of the Goblins from last album in, though. Just
I was gonna say,
hide it at the end.
Which I love that he just. I'm like, wait, that didn't say Goblin. It said Goblin.
Yeah.
I know that Goblin.
And this, I'll be honest, this one sounds an awful lot like the Goosebumps theme.
It's definitely got this kind of moody 90s funk beat thing to it. Which, yeah, you're not wrong. It's like got that kind of Goosebumps spooky vibe going on.
Because when did that come out?
It definitely would have been the 90s.
That came out.
But I mean, it's I see exactly what you mean. The narrator changes again into this like very deep voiced, viewers beware,
Yeah,
you're in for a scare
exactly.
type delivery. Where basically White Goblin is just suffering. But I'm pretty sure he's completely evil. I guess he's trying to steal all color, so or at least pretty evil. Yeah, this one's going for like a spooky vibe. Like there's that kind of descending bass line. There's like these like screaming samples in the background.
The original Goosebumps TV show started in 1995. So come on, Takanaka, stop lifting things.
Let's see. Well, it doesn't look like. Yeah, but Goosebumps didn't have goblins in it for 1995.
No.
He added that too.
I'm talking about the very Goosebumps sounding backing track on this one. Although I will say the near the end, that wah pedal on the guitar, that sounds so Santana.
Yeah, and that's not the only time it's going to get some Santana influence just in this album.
Which is weird because I looked up, maybe they were doing more collaboration at the time. They collaborated for the first time in 1981. So like when Rainbow Goblins came out. So it's like, what? Why is this one so Santana? Maybe everything past Rainbow Goblins is very Santana.
That's what he decided to go for it.
Yeah.
I will say I really like there's a point in the song where like it kind of has like this kind of build up and then it cuts out like it's the end of the song. and then the song just like jets back right into it, like even more aggressively
Mhm.
with like these backing vocals. I thought that was a really fun like ending to the song. Well, not backing vocals, is that kind of mouth guitar.
Yeah. Jumping to track 6 if you're ready, Coop.
Yeah, track number 5.
Track 5, yeah. I typed the right name, said the wrong number. Track 5.
Track number 5, Cave City.
Um I had a little something for this one. Been spending most our lives living in a goblin paradise. 8 colors once or twice.
Okay.
This one definitely has some that it's that I don't know how to describe it. It's the same like canned string sound that Gangster's Paradise has. The is it not the Stevie Wonder original version?
Coolio
The
version.
Coolio version, yes.
I think that's Coolio.
Or it's yeah, I think it's Coolio. That's what I wanted to say.
But yeah, it's definitely got that. It kind of has, yeah, okay, Gangster's Paradise vibe to it. But this one's about apparently
Yes,
there's just a
Coolio.
whole civilization of cave goblins living underground, that are just kind of chill, living in
And
caves.
I had this picture that I'm now showing on screen that as I was just thinking about the whole time during the spoken word portion of the song. The goblins live underground in their cave city, and they don't open their eyes ever. And the white goblin comes down and says, "There's a world of color to eat up top. Come with me." Very Plato's allegory of the cave.
Yeah, WG kind of radicalized the cave goblins.
Yeah.
He's become problematic.
Also
I
the
was also getting.
sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say I was also getting. If you remember from the end of the album, "Demon Days" by the Gorillaz,
Mm-hmm.
the song "Fire Coming Out of a Monkey's Head." The spoken word passage just gave me like huge vibes of that.
I do. I'll be honest. I don't really remember that. I'll have to go back and listen
That was
to
the
it.
spoken word one. That was like right at the end of the album.
That one's not living rent free in my head. But for the cave goblins, they were happy, but they sure didn't take much convincing to leave. They're like,
I
"Yeah,
mean,
we're happy here. Okay, yeah, we'll come with you."
well, they wanted to check it out. What's the worst that could happen?
Well,
Uh,
jumping to track 6 if you're ready, Coop.
yeah, track number 6, "March for Colors." Um, okay, I just gotta say it. That they kind of for the rest of the songs they kind of have the same narrator from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
He sounds like Markiplier.
Really, I'm not familiar, so
Just saying. And also, the goblins have discovered capitalism.
yeah. So
Uh-oh.
very quick pivot to the environmental dangers of capitalism. This is way more on the nose than the first book.
So this is just my own speculation,
Yeah.
but Japan pretty famously in the like early to mid 1980s, so a little right after Rainbow Goblins came out, had like a super severe financial crash.
Yes.
Like their housing market completely went to crap. So the 90s were not a great time for Japan. So that may help to describe while Takanaka went from happy-go-lucky summer pop guy in the early 1980s to kind of much moodier, darker album with pretty,
Yeah.
more explicit messaging.
Yeah. Um, it doesn't have this song doesn't quite have the energy you'd think a big city building song should have. I guess we should. It might be worth reading out the portions of the book here, so it's not confusing. Let's see. Let me find the text.
Oh, you have the text ready. The nomenclature.
Here we go. Just got to make sure it doesn't start playing music right away. You're good. Oh wait, this one doesn't have the. This isn't the right one. Is it this one? Let's try this. Oh, it's only the first one. Which song are we on? We're on March for
We're on
Colors.
March for Colors.
Okay.
And so,
Little and so. So the White Goblin led the impatient band of goblins into the light of day. There the whole nature lay before them with all its precious colors, nourishment and abundance for the starving cave goblin. They see it in the previous segment. It didn't mention that they were starving. It said they were happy. So maybe
maybe taking some liberties.
yeah.
I kind of like the idea that the goblins aren't just like innately evil, like they were just kind of fine with how they're doing things, but they got greedy.
It was a feast that looked as if it would never end. Everything was available to them without effort. Their joy gave them new energy, and they quickly multiplied. They soon became a busy people, building great cities and conducting brisk trade in colors extracted from nature. They were engulfed by their wealth, and their cities became gigantic. So that's what I was saying. Very quickly, like, up until about the joy gave them new energy and they multiplied. Then it's like, then they made Wall Street, and that was bad.
God, they into the stock market.
Yeah.
Go back to the caves. Yeah, no, but I mean, the song itself is obviously this is kind of the calm before the storm, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it's got this very eerie bass guitar throughout it, and these kind of interesting production choices, like these kind of like reversed loop samples in the background.
Yeah, I don't know. This one just, it was so stripped back. It just didn't, comparatively. It's like, this is supposed to be a big city building, exciting. Well, not exciting, but, monumental thing. And it's way more laid back than even the Goblins theme,
Yeah, I saw it more as a building up.
Fair.
Right. Montage. I mean, we'll get more energy later.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Jumping to track 7, if you're ready.
Yes, track number 7, Monochrome, in which the goblins have invented climate change.
Yeah, so the text for this one is, but nature increasingly lost its color and the signs of illness were evident in many places. This did not disturb the goblins at all. On the contrary, it was a challenge to them to invent new tools that could provide them with more colors. And they built machines that would advance them more swiftly in the earth, water, and air. The more they indulged in their greed for colors, the paler and more sickly nature became. It had turned gray and monochrome, and one day it simply ceased to exist. So very, very on the nose.
Why didn't the flowers kill everyone?
Yeah.
We know you can do it. You've done it before.
and then a man named Goblin Reagan or made Goblinomics.
Not even subtle. Not even subtle.
Just stops trying. But this one has, I would say, sounds more jazz of the time. Stripped back near rock guitar riffs that are played slowly and more quietly. I remember a lot of my dad's 90s jazz had this kind of sound to it.
Yeah, and the guitar here particularly reminds me of Santana.
Yes.
Maybe of a more mellow beat than what Santana typically does, but certainly has that kind of same cadence.
Mm-hmm. And this one, this narration made me miss the detached British man. This guy's way too movie announcery.
That's why I said he's a little Markiplier, but
yeah.
a kind of a more deep-throated voice. But to be fair, the British man's like, and the goblins destroyed everything.
I kind of like
probably. Maybe it wouldn't work as well.
I like it would have been a good juxtaposition, instead of, this guy being in a world where goblins killed everyone. It's just
one man,
one goblin got banished back to the snow and did nothing.
one man's taking them all out. I don't care what color you goblins are. You're all gonna be red after I'm done with you.
This summer. He was living in a goblin's paradise. That would be the theme for the
Goblin's
trailer.
Paradise?
No, just Gangster's Paradise. They move more swiftly through the air and water. Oh yeah, they fly now.
Get ready to gobble some bullets. Why is Hollywood not picked up on this?
I think it's because our way of making trailers hasn't changed since the 90s. Well, no one makes trailers like that anymore.
Exactly.
It's such a
Wait,
cliche.
you're not going to take our pitch of a 90s parody of a 1990s children's book based on a 1990s Takanaka album? It hits so many different markets. Um, yeah, this song is for me, the way you're kind of saying with March for Colors, this one was a little too low key.
Yeah.
Like
And
maybe back to back, it was a bit of a lull.
The last chorus section at the end, I didn't know what to call it other than chorus. It's very repetitive. It's the same kind of lick over and over and over, and it just goes on for a little too long. Well, you know, it is monochrome, but we can still be entertained even if it's projecting something monotonous.
I mean, I do like the little chanting that they have in the background.
Oh yeah, but
that's fun.
It just goes on a bit too long. Jumping to track 8 if you're ready, Coop.
Yes, track number 8, Smoke.
So this one is... Oh no, I don't have the text. Is there text on this one? I thought there was.
There's narration in the song.
Yeah.
Which basically says that White Goblin, he's like, wait, maybe this is bad. And then he gets exiled again.
Yeah.
which is like, got him.
Can't make up his mind. Where is it?
Which has an interesting intro for it, because it starts like very desolate with some like forlorn narration. But then like some Spanish guitar sneaks in, and then just goes like straight into like a straight funk cut.
Mm-hmm. So this is granted. This is probably auto-generated. This is auto-generated captions from the thing. So, although the cave goblins had sucked all the colors out of nature, their thirst seemed unquenchable. Now they built huge plants in order to produce artificial colors. Smoke poured out of the factory chimneys and darkened the sky so that the sun was no longer able to penetrate. Smoke always dusk, heroes of vapor. It's breaking down a little bit. But at first the White Goblin had watched the activities of the cave goblins with astonishment, but soon with increasing alarm. When he advised moderation, they laughed at him and drove him back to his glacial home.
Which, I mean, dang. Man just cannot win, huh?
No.
But, yeah, so... Yeah, this one's, it's, not going good for the goblins.
No.
Or at least they don't, for nature, I should say.
He's back to eating snow now. This one had some interesting guitar work in it. I thought I was a fan of the duet of acoustic guitars. Not a big fan of those super fake trumpets that come in right after the acoustic guitar duet, though.
Fair enough. But the guitar playing's pretty great on this one.
Oh yeah, and then
Takanaka makes it sing.
And then at the end, it's guitar, but there's so many guitars playing. There's at least like 4 or 5 guitar lines with the bass underneath that, and it's just that the ending of the song is really sick.
Yeah, no, this is a fun one. It definitely ramps up as it goes along.
Yes,
we're like, oh yeah, we're barreling towards something.
Yes, and that's track number 9.
Yes, track number 9, Died Out.
Everything's dead.
Which I'm not sure if you've ever played like the original Doom, Sam.
I have not.
This music is very Doom coded. It's kind of this kind of chiptune butt rock.
Mm-hmm. So
like, hell yeah, brother.
the narration for this one was the White Goblin made his way again into the heart of the cold, cold world. He sometimes had wild nightmares in which the destructive greed of the cave goblins grew without measure. Little commentary there. In the meantime, the world of the cave goblins showed signs of impending cataclysm increased. There was more and more earthquakes, and yet the cities grew without stop. Artificial worlds in which many illusions were created to avert attention from the threat of doom. The goblins were possessed and united by pleasure. No one listened to anyone else. Feelings of love and respect died out. So,
Yep. So things got pretty bad.
yeah.
At least the White Goblin's still suffering. So
Yeah. It was with this narration, I was like, man, the world really hasn't changed in our lifetimes other than getting worse, huh? It's kind of depressing.
Reagan. I mean, goblins.
Yeah. The Great Barrier Reef was already dying when we were born, so it's.
But yeah. I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of like the chiptune vibe of this.
Yeah, there was
Um,
there was one part during the terrible nightmares. It was followed by a really pulsing bass line that was a little comical. I laughed a little bit about that.
I mean, I do like the line of like love dying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that's a little hardcore.
Yeah.
But remember in the previous album where about this point of the album it was about flowers turning into birds?
Yeah.
Totally different.
The heavy ass guitar riffs and gritty synth killed all the plants.
Yes.
Jumping to track 10 if you're ready, Coop.
Track number 10, Gray.
Spelled incorrectly.
I mean, isn't that the English way of spelling it?
That's the American way of spelling it, I believe.
No. Well, why is the American way wrong then?
Because it looks gray sounds correct with an E. It's A.
A. Well, yeah.
Gray.
And there's got A in it.
Not gray.
Well, you didn't even put emphasis on the A. That was on the R.
Anyway, this one has some beeping in the backing track. I quite like. It feels a bit out of place, but in my head it gives like the anti-plane collision lights flashing on the top of a skyscraper in the fog of pollution.
Ooh, that's quite a good visual. Yeah, no, it's this rhythmic beeping. It's much more mellow, but not like in a way that was a little anticlimactic with monochrome. This one's like a clearing of the dust kind of vibe. Because in the song, the goblins have effectively destroyed themselves. Kind of, so it's a little more melancholic. It's got this serenity, but also this despair.
Yeah.
Very emotional.
The narration on this one is only a very few who manage to save themselves and now hover between life and death, agreed on the essentials of being. Their life and the life of their people unrolled before their eyes again, and suddenly they understood the connections. So getting a little psychedelic with it.
Yeah. It took destroying the world to learn a lesson.
Mm-hmm. Very dark and heavy song, which I would say almost without the connotation of the narration, it would almost be relaxing.
Yeah, it's relaxing, but you can definitely, it's not like you can tell that there's like some, melancholy behind it.
Yeah.
Especially like you said, the piano and that kind of beeping, that it's almost like a life support.
Yes. Yeah, that's good. That's a good comparison. But jumping to track number 11, Coop.
Yes, track number 11, Into the Sky.
The only song on this album that's on Spotify.
And the only song that wasn't on the YouTube video I was watching of it.
Yeah. This list here I'm looking at has it, though.
But I guess that goblins found like a fountain that shot a beam into the sky.
Yeah,
it's
so
a little vague here.
For this one, the bright lights. So let me read the narration first because we're going to be talking about it. Excuse me. Their memory of a wonderful, fragrant nature with all its flourishing colors was reawakened by the bright light, a fountain that shot beams into the sky. So it sounds like the city's got nuked. It's what I took from that.
Yeah, it's super. It kind of gets very not cerebral, but like metaphorical near the end.
Yeah,
like before it's pretty one to one. But
for as specific as it was,
which I actually kind of like. Like it's the end of civilization, so like what happens after is almost like outside of humanity. Sorry, goblimanities. Kind of understanding because they're not around anymore. But I will say this is the return of summer breezy Takanaka. Like the goblins are out of the way. This like goes into like an absolutely like triumphant jam.
Yeah, it's very triumphant. It's very hard guitar again. But nature's back, apparently. All the goblins are dead.
Which I mean,
Again.
that makes sense with the messaging of like, at the end of the day, they'll only destroy themselves. Nature will always rebound.
Mm.
Um, and Takanaka seems thrilled about that.
Yes. Weird wood block breakdown, though, around the 3:30 mark.
Yeah, it's kind of like goes out and then like goes back in. But I don't know. The guitar playing just like is so like feel good on the song, which is a little weird to say after like this whole album's been fairly heavy,
Mm-hmm.
at least emotionally. So here, just like having like a extremely happy soaring song is like a cloud break at the end.
Yeah, well, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, no, so it's completely in
back.
line.
But jumping to track 12, if you're ready.
Yeah, track number 12, Morning of Creation, dash, you can never come to this place. Uh-oh, a little callback from the last song of the last album.
And it has the carryover of the theme as well. It kind of got some water level Mario 64 synth in there. I don't know if you caught that. It was like the do 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 do.
It did kind of have that. Don't judge me here, Sam, but whenever the theme from the original Rainbow Goblins came in at the end of this song, I teared up a little bit. I got a little emotional. I don't know why it hit me so hard. I was like, oh my god, he remembered. Nature's healing.
So the narration for this last bit was we really should have done the narration for the last album too. I didn't think about that. Oh well. The low-hanging clouds dissolved with the singing of birds. The sun broke through and nature was formed. The world shone in all its colors, and streams of light flooded the land as the morning of creation.
Yeah, color is back in nature.
Mm-hmm. I gotta admit, I love the fact that the main theme comes back.
Yeah, that's actually extremely cute.
And it helps that it's a fantastic main theme.
Oh yeah, like it's instantly recognizable. Sometimes motifs come back and they're almost so subtle you don't notice them. This one's like right in your face, which I appreciate.
And I really like that when the guitar has its solo, the strings then pick up the main theme and they're playing it in the background.
Yeah, and the fact that the theme comes back, it kind of goes back to a more orchestral, focused instrumentation. It's like, it's full circle, right back to Rainbow Goblins.
Mm-hmm. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of the ending of this song. It doesn't feel grand enough. It kind of fades a little bit and doesn't have quite the same oomph that Rainbow Goblins had. I definitely think Rainbow Goblins is a better take on this outro.
Maybe. I mean, it's kind of like a storybook kind of like epilogue closing, I feel.
Yeah.
Like things worked out. Even if it eradicated all goblin kind in the meantime.
Well, White Goblin might still be alive.
Oh, you didn't listen to the very end of the song? The narrator says, White Goblin will return in Avengers Endgame.
But yeah, that's the album.
That is the album.
So what would you say your least favorite track would be, Coop?
I mean, I think Monochrome was a little on the mellow side, but I'd probably go with Died Out. Just because there's got a little too deep into the butt rock and the chiptune sound there, which I don't think was, really assisted the album.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
I think either Who or Monochrome for myself. It's Who just, I don't know, it goes a little bit too weird even compared to the rest of the album, and Monochrome is a little too monochrome.
Okay.
But what about your favorite?
Then what was your... Oh, okay.
No, you go first.
I'll go first. Well, I mean, I gotta give a shout out to Goblin's theme.
Yeah.
Like I said, I clapped whenever they said Goblin again. And I also just really like how spooky and, I mean, maybe it's just my nostalgia for Goosebumps, but
yeah, it's very Goosebumps.
But I thought there was some fun production choices here. It made a lot more sense for a Goblin's theme than the last album, which it was just like a summer funk cut.
Yeah.
But also definitely Into the Sky. Like that's a super triumphant like ending song, or second to last song.
Mm-hmm.
Feels very very victorious. What about you, Sam?
I think I gotta say Goblin's theme. That's the one lick that's been in my head, or I guess the bits of the song, because the end kind of goes a bit James Bondy as well. With it's Goosebumps and James Bond.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
No, and it's probably my favorite. Now, I really do quite like Heaven and Earth into Morning of Creation. Those grand pieces. I'm just a sucker for rock with orchestra. You would never guess that, based on my music tastes. But I think I got to go with Goblin's theme.
Nice.
Well, we got to rate it now.
That's true.
And I did it last time, so it's your turn, Coop.
Well, okay, that makes sense. Well, so here at the Audio Shop podcast, me and Sam actually recently made a pilgrimage to Japan to meet with Masayoshi Takanaka. As for his inspirations, obviously he's been very prolific and seems to love what he does. We got to his house and we noticed the door is cracked open. We're like, hey, we knocked on the door. Hey, Mr. Takanaka, are you in? And that's when we opened it and revealed he's actually 3 goblins in a trench coat.
Mm-hmm.
So he's actually been a goblin this entire time. We said, Mr. Takanaka, why? Why are you 3 goblins? And he said something in Goblin. We couldn't understand it, and then they beat us unconscious. So that's why we have this rating system.
About cars.
About cars.
How do cars tie into that?
So at the tip top, we got the showroom. That's the cream of the crop, the best of the best. And then way down at the bottom, we have Scrapyard at the bottom of the barrel. Ooh, yeah, get it away from me. And we got like new, fixer upper, used rental in between. We'll give it a high or a low, kind of depending on how we feel that day. So with all that said, Sam, how would you rate The White Goblin by Masayoshi Takanaka?
I think I would give this a low like new. Not yours, mine. It's good. It's not as good as Rainbow Goblins. I don't know. I feel like it might be a little bit more cohesive as an album, especially last time we were talking about the themes being tied to the songs. This definitely fits a bit better, but the songs themselves just aren't quite what I was expecting coming into this. They're not bad, but it's very 90s. It's very 90s. And I was kind of wanting that city pop feel to it. But I definitely think I'm going to come back to some of the tracks on this. What about you, Coop?
I think I might have to give it a low showroom.
What? Not even Rainbow Goblin's got a showroom.
I know. Well, I liked it more than Rainbow Goblin.
That's heresy.
I know that this will be controversial, but I don't know. I think it carried the emotion better. I mean, Rainbow Goblins did some things I liked more, right? Obviously, some of the summer pop vibes I liked, but quite frankly, that was kind of pasted onto the story that was occurring, right?
Yeah.
Besides like Thunderstorm,
yeah.
or maybe a couple into this album, it was just a city pop album that happened to tell a story about goblins. Where this one I feel like actually kind of the music matched what the narration was going for, and like kind of followed the emotionality of the story. And on top of that, I thought it was just had some very interesting production choices. Obviously a completely different sound than what Takanaka is known for, but some amazing guitar music, a timeless story of goblins destroying civilization. The tale is told as time. I just walked away with it like thinking like, yeah, I think I like this more than Rainbow Goblins, and I gave Rainbow Goblins a high like new, so I think I got to give it a low showroom.
Wow.
So that's just what my heart tells me.
I definitely rank this below Rainbow Goblins, but it's still quite a good album.
Even if we don't agree on the exact ranking, we can both say it's impressive that he made a sequel to an album a decade and a half later with a completely different sound and still be very good.
Yeah. It just tells me that I need to, buckle down and get through all of the albums. But there's so many albums, it just takes forever. I'm trying, but then you'll listen to one and you'll be like, you know what? I want to go back and listen to this album again. Wait, crap. Which song was that? I've listened to 70 Takanaka songs so far today. I don't remember, and there's no lyrics for me to look up, so I just got to click through and figure out which one I'm thinking of. So at least with these, you can be like, yeah, it was the Goblin one. Narrows it down a little bit.
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting to see if you're listening through how Takanaka got from Rainbow Goblins to White Goblin in terms of his sound.
Yeah.
Actually, something shifted there in the last, 15 years.
I'm interested. I wish some of these had damn Wikipedia pages. Looking some of this stuff up is just impossible. I guess looking this stuff up when I actually have to do the research versus going to Wikipedia where somebody's already done all the research makes it a lot harder. I guess the complaint I have.
Do you know? I'm looking at his Wikipedia page. His latest live album is the debut 50th anniversary of the Rainbow Goblins final.
Yeah. I talked about that last time because he filmed that in 2021. It's just now coming out.
This man is this man just loves goblins.
Yes.
Well,
Rainbow Goblins was a fairly big album.
Which I don't blame him. It's a great album.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go listen to the Goblin theme from that one after this.
Goblin, Goblin, Goblin.
It's just so good. It's that bass line, man. But that's the album for this week. Now we're going to roll on over to the spare tire, which is just whatever else we've been listening to. I've gone first the last couple times. Coop, you want to mention anything you've been listening to?
Yeah, let me just pull up my Spotify list. So let's see. Haim released a new EP, which is rather interesting. I think I already talked about Stereolab releasing a new album, which was very good. I've been listening through some Ichiko Aoba, who's an artist I like. She collaborated with some other Japanese artists that I made this very I don't know how to describe it. A very electronic but playful album experience. The Design on Neo album series. They've released a couple of those, so I was listening through those, and that's very interesting. And yeah, then of course just more Rainbow Goblins because it's a great album as well.
Yeah.
What about you, Sam?
Listening to a lot of Yellow and Jeff Lynne, of course.
Of course.
Some of the stuff off of Long Wave, which was just all covers. Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered. That one's been in my head a little bit. The Jeff Lynne version, not the real version. Listen to some Paper Mache Dream Balloon.
I was actually just listening to that as well.
I was
such a good album. Very summery album.
Yes. I listened to just some of my liked songs. Never Ender just is on loop in my head usually. Fantastic song. Listen through the Tron Legacy soundtrack again. I needed to focus at work, and that always puts me in the zone. And then I was revisiting Venus and Mars the other day.
Who's that by?
Wings.
Oh, the Wings album, yes.
No, not the Wings, just Wings.
Yeah, Wings. That's what I said.
And
from the Paul McCartney, right?
The Paul McCartney. And yeah, that's pretty much been it. A lot of Yellow. Getting back into it. There's always a 2-month period during the year which I exclusively listen to ELO.
Just as a principle.
Yeah, it just happens every year. Last year it was I think it was March, April, and I guess this year it's going to be June, right? May, June, and probably into July. So that's all.
Nice.
But if you've liked what you've heard for some reason and you want to hear some more, you can scroll down on the Twitch page and there's a picture of Jeff Lynne. He's the guy with the aviators on. That'll take you to YouTube where almost all of our past episodes are. And if you're listening on YouTube and you want to listen to us live and berate us in the chat, You can click the link in the description, and it'll take you to Twitch, where we're usually live every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
We're getting better.
What is this? Third in a row? Second in a row? I can't remember at this point.
Yeah, third in a row.
Third in a row. Wow, we're on a roll. And we've also got a Blue Sky.
Yes, you can follow us at Blue Sky at Audio Shop Pod. That's POD. Or I guess maybe just go into Blue Sky and type Goblin into the search bar. That'll probably in the top Goblin posters right now.
What do they call posts on Blue Sky?
I mean, it doesn't say on it. I guess just posts.
Posts. They're not a.
They're not calling it toots. No.
Are they flutters?
Nah.
No.
And we'll let you know what album we're listening to when we're in relation to it.
But yeah, that's all we got. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
See you later, shoppies.
See ya.